Welcome back, everyone, to the officially unofficial stream and to our coverage of the LJL Academy. We are in day 2, game number 3, and we now stand in the shadow of perhaps a new team rising to the very top. That's right, it's a literal shadow of V3. They've come to all of our homes and to all of our hearts as well to try and make a big impression. We've already seen them play once today and show up huge. Now they've got the chance to do it again.
Well, and this is doing it versus AXIZ. So actually what's happening here is V3 Esports are looking to get revenge for their big sister team in the main LJL over AXIZ, because guess what? AXIZ 3-0'd V3 Esports in the playoffs, so now it's going to be a return, especially for Unica, to get some form of revenge, as he was literally in that series over AXIZ Academy. For me, I'm going to be really excited to watch, honestly, how this mid-jungle duo of Mutton and Nolicio versus Yu-Gi-Oh! And Unica, because this is the well and true rookies versus the experienced veterans of the two, really, in Academy at this moment in time.
Yeah, I also like as well for, if we're talking about, trying to build up the consistency, for AXIZ Academy, their bottom lane, both Deant and Dicey were amongst the very top players when it came to KDA the last one. I think Deant ended up with 19 because of that ridiculous performance on Ezreal. 10, 1, and 9. I mean, it feels like in the Academy, we are seeing a tremendous crop of fantastic AD carries who can pull out these ridiculous performances, sometimes even in a loss.
Well, Marble is still technically hasn't died yet in Academy, if I'm right, because he didn't die in that last game, did he? Did he? No, he didn't.
Man. I know he didn't die in day 1.
I don't think he died in that first game, versus Sengoku Gaming. So that means potentially Marble has the highest KDA because he hasn't died yet across 2 games. I mean, regardless if he has or hasn't died yet. Yeah, hasn't died. We got confirmation. So, my memory is okay, but you and me already knew that with some of the pattern recognition I do. So, God, Aphelios and Varus. God, yeah, that bot lane's going to be so exciting. What do you want to see? What do you want to see them play this time around?
Oh, well, I mean, I think you call it in the first game that the Varus, did have the ways to be countering it. So I really want to see both these bottom laners, who again, they're trying to make their names here. I'd like to maybe see them be on the, like the Aphelios is, and similar ones where we can have some really big carry performances, solo carrying games. Marble certainly had the entire team rallying around them to give them the best performance possible. And I think, it's obviously made an impression on us, it's made an impression on everybody else as well. It almost at this point, Marble's been doing so well as an AD carry, they're kind of setting themselves up with a massive target on their back, because if you can beat them, you kind of inherit their entire reputation they've been building through these first few games.
But the issue for me there is that we know the side of V3 Esports can gladly play through multiple other members on their side. They've got Yu-Gi-Oh, who was building a Death Note in that first game versus Sengoku. Like, we know they are more than happy to play through multiple other members on this roster. So just shutting down the AD carry is going to be hard, because no one's even got a kill on this guy at the moment. So how do you shut down the one that is unkillable?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's got to be an answer eventually. There's no way to get through the entirety of the Academy stage with no death at all. Of course, we still got to consider Toll, as AXIZ will be playing on the blue and V3 on the red. Toll with a fantastic cannon play before coming into the flank, and Mutton as well, providing a huge amount of beefiness. Let's see what we've got in terms of bans, though. So Viego banned out along with Set, the Trundle, Galio, and Aurelia from AXIZ. One more to come in for V3. Marble's Aphelios is still alive and for the taking. AXIZ have got the chance to steal it away from themselves. Both of these AD carries have shown they can rule entire games for themselves, but we haven't seen much of LeBlanc so far. She was a big presence pick in day 1. Let's see if AXIZ, yes, they will prioritize her over any kind of AD carry pick at all. Now over to V3. Let's see if they decide to go for anything themselves down in the bottom lane. They certainly now have got the chance to respond to the LeBlanc pick for themselves and get to that counter pick. Seems like we maybe got V3.
Are these actual real drafts that we're getting?
They're real drafts, Mars.
Real? They're real drafts, and we're actually seeing some people actually banning out some high priority champions. Viego, Diana. I'm okay with this. First pick a LeBlanc. Is this competitive play? Are we going to see a Thresh? Maybe.
Well, these are two teams who are undefeated right now. So hey, if it's going to be serious mode, it's going to be serious mode, and Jace will join. So we've got the hammer coming down from V3.
That's an interesting blind pick there for V3. I would have preferred to have not seen the top laner just open pick there. You've still got R3. You still get to see 2 more picks from the side of AXIZ, so you could have definitely waited around. You could have picked your counter pick for mid, and then you could have gone for it. But potentially, maybe this Jace is going to be the counter pick. We'll have to wait and see. This Leona is still always being seen, and again, another game where Thresh isn't going to be picked up. This time around, it's going to be the Alistar, Lee Sin as well. What do you think could be the response here for V3?
Oh my gosh, well, neither team picking up their AD carries so far. It does seem like maybe they're both trying to see what the other team is going for and then respond. But of course, we've got the bans coming up, but neither team would take the AD carry. It's the Nidalee. I know you weren't a big fan of this pick before.
No. I'm fine with the pick as long as we draft around it. You don't draft around it by going R3 Nidalee. That's not drafting around it, especially with a Jace. You don't like. It's happening again. Counterfeit. I'm getting really. Okay. The thing is, this is V3
express your emotions.
This is V3 Esports, so I have faith that they're gonna figure this out, right? So they're gonna. I'm assuming now this Jace is going mid. Like this is actually the response to the LeBlanc. We're gonna get something like a Renekton to set up, but guess what? That's already banned away, so you're not gonna have that opportunity. So we'll figure something out for that. Set's already been banned out. We're getting the AD carry bans, as you already mentioned, for the side of AXIZ, because Marvel can play everything under the sun, so no harm there for them. Why are we R3ing Nidalee? Middlecott, help here. You've been molding at this as well. I know we've talked in the green room. I'm molding here, counterfeit. I can't.
I think it's right to seek outside assistance when nothing seems to make sense. The Camille banned away as well. So that's another pick which would be able to set up for that Nidalee very well, as we finally get to see what V3 are bringing out. So Marble will be bringing out the Ezreal pick that Dian made famous in AXIZ's only game so far. The Aphelios is still up, is still available. V3 are saying, go on, pick it if you dare.
I mean, it's definitely throwing it down. We're getting poke comp versus engage comp, so we probably want more hard engage if you are here for the side of AXIZ at the moment. They've got the jumping down, and hey, what's good against poke? The pokiest boy with the best wave clear in the game. Yes, I'm putting down the gauntlet, Ziggs. Oh, this is so sick from AXIZ. They're actually adjusting to what V3 are doing. What's going to be, though, the open pick on top lane? The Gnar is probably on the cards.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's, I think, what we've been waiting for all this time, but maybe AXIZ have got something else to surprise us with. They certainly don't seem like they want to play according to V3's expectations. It's Fiora. It's time to duel.
I did say that this could be something that we'd see from a lot of these top laners. I mentioned that we've got a few Fiora players. I wasn't sure if we were going to see it. Dicey picked it in for total... Total 2. God, some of these names, man. I mean, this is Brawl, this is Duel, this is Brawl, this is Engage. AXIZ definitely have a much harder team comp to actually commit to, but at the same time, it's pretty. I don't understand this canon actually. That's the only thing I'm not going to figure out, because that's anti-poke. You want to engage with that. Leona makes sense because obviously sometimes you want to find a pick, but this cannon is going to be interesting how it's going to fit in. I guess you've got Q poke, so we're going for all the poking action all day till Sunday. AXIZ though, their comp is just so cool. It's so unique, and how often do you get to see Fiora unless you're in the LPL?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what we can get out of there. Again, we mentioned coming into this one, we've got a relatively unique circumstance here that all the teams go to the playoffs irrespective of
Mm.
how they perform, though with the caveat, of course, that if you perform in the bottom two of the teams, you're gonna have a rough time of things. But we've got some fantastic teams coming through here. Tulsi Marswan, while we were a little bit surprised as to how things worked out, we mentioned we got the poke here for AXIZ. For V3, while they've got some poke of their own, what's the overall game plan here from each side, do you think?
Okay, so V3 is just Poke City. They want to siege. I will not be surprised if we see like a very peculiar Baron getting picked up here for the side of V3, and they just look to siege till every single fight that they have the opportunity to do. V3 also want to play very long team fights. The thing is, sieging is great, but Dient is on Ziggs, so they actually have the anti-siege champion in their composition. The thing that's going to be really interesting to see is how AXIZ want to play these team fights and how V3. I am very intrigued on how this goes. My heart tells me that theoretically V3 will win this, but my brain says don't count out AXIZ as there's always a chance.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm fascinated to see how this all goes, because I certainly really like having the Fiora up in the top lane to make sure we've got the split damage profile of Mutton and Toll with the AD, Licio and Dian with the AP, and then of course Alistair coming back to match in. But I think we should wait no longer. I believe we will have that game 3 coming up in just a few moments more. I mean, faith aside, putting your heart, ripping your heart from a chest for a moment and thinking it with the old noggin. Mast, who do you feel comes out of this one with the undefeated streak as it is intact?
I mean, I'm probably going to side with Axe. No, the I'm going to go V3. All right. The only reason I'm going V3 is nameplates. I'm now going into nameplate territory. I trust the ability, the tenureship, the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh and Unico was literally playing in the LJL series and had a 3-0 over the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming in a best of series. Like, I'm just gonna go with the fact that I know the proven commodities on V3 far more, and that they have a player that hasn't died in 2 series as an AD carry, playing one of the most immobile carries in both games of Darius and Aphelios. I'm going to go V3, but AXIZ could take it if it was me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super fascinated to see how this one goes. As we said, like as we've seen in many of the games, we've got 2 fantastic AD carries going up against each other. We mentioned Dient and Dicey with some truly ludicrous stats. Of course, Yu-Gi-Oh did end up in that mid lane with the J-Sub rule. I think go back on a point that you were talking about before. I watched a day on that Kennen. You were saying, while we've seen Toll 2 do some good work on that pick before, are you not liking it as much in this kind of setup that we've got here with the rest of the squad, the Kennen?
Well, Washide had a really good game on that Kennen, I remember yesterday. I'm a little suspicious of this Kennen with this lineup because we're playing a poke comp. Kennen doesn't typically want to be a poke comp. He wants to be in a heavy engaged comp where you're going for a wombo combo of a full 5-man ultimates coming down. You can kind of do this with how their team is set out. Obviously, Jace wants to kind of have everyone clumped up, get an empowered Q go through, Ezreal ultimate going through, but Nidalee doesn't really want that, so it's a bit, doesn't quite work with the rest of the comp.
All right, everybody, we've waited long enough. Let's get into game 3. 2 undefeated teams in AXIZ and V3. Some new picks, some new ways of playing. This is the only time these 2 teams will play in our regular Academy League season. So get ready. It's going to be a barn burner.
Oh, for sure. And with that said, let's have a look at these runes to see if anything is jumping out at any of us. No, all of this looks pretty standard. Fiora, to my knowledge, normally goes either Conqueror or Grasp. The reason for going Grasp sometimes is because guess what? You want to have the ability to actually get effective trades, especially against something like a Kennen. You also want to have Get Demolish. Normally you can kind of do that through your secondary tree. They're actually going for Boots with a Biscuit. So really, Total wants to be able to survive Washide here because it's expecting there's going to be probably a fair amount of fighting, and then we'll try and do something else. But looks like they're already pushing this aggression, and these top laners are going to be wet noodle fighting probably from minute number 1. Fiora didn't go with Wet Noodle though, so I'm a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Tol2. I think that's a really good read on the Masteries there, kind of, showing us a little bit of their game plan from minute 0. As we can see, Blitzcrank is definitely on the side of AXIZ coming in. We've got those power spikes for looking like the vast majority of the game until 35 minutes plus. So, do you agree with that? Is that the game plan for V3 to try and get to that later game?
When does poke start getting good? When everyone has an item or 2 or 3 at that point in time. I completely agree with them. I do think AXIZ do definitely just, in an isolated, when everything is even, I think AXIZ do get spike more effectively, especially on that first item. It is going to take more than one item for most of V3 to really get online. But V3 have been shown that they're very smart at playing around stuff, and Unica's read Mutton here like an absolute book because of that blue buff.
Yeah, Mutton is going to be taking the javelin right to the face. We'll see if we've got a response coming in. Mutton gets chewed out.
What the chew?
The javelin just goes wide, and it doesn't look like Tol2 will be coming down to stop this invade. So for Unica, nice early invade pays off, not with a buff, but at least driving Mutton out of the jungle.
Well, yeah, forcing the reset, losing the Gromp, but also why he wasn't able to get anything there to any assistance, because Washide had actually collapsed the whole wave that they had stacked into the top side. So there's never an opportunity. Unica is playing very much in the space of AXIZ at the moment, but they know they can do this because guess what? They are always getting lane priority. This is going to be a Scuttle Crab here, and then they're probably going to go back up to top side and secure that one as well, because guess what? They just own the jungle at the moment.
Yeah, this kitty cat is playing like they're running out of time. Unica, very impressive in the early going as we do see the brawl up in the top side. Washide being chased down here. Flash is still available. Going to be exchanged. Washide just makes it out. Both top players still with their flash intact. But when it comes to the straight fight, we can see Tol2 has the advantage.
And Tol2, the lane is actually pushing into him, so he's probably going to be looking to try and set up a freeze here at one point. I don't believe he would actually expect anything. And yeah, Washide is actually teleporting in onto a minion, so clearly that's the place they want to be. But outside of that, look at that. V3, UGO has priority in this mid lane, even with Nonao trying to put so much damage on this LeBlanc. It's just like, well, yeah, it's great and all, but I'm just going to keep pushing you. I'm just going to keep pushing you. Get priority so my jungler can play around this map and get double scuttle as he already has.
Yeah, well, certainly Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been doing a lot of work to create that space, already teleporting back to lane after spending all of their mana on early trades. So Delicio on the LeBlanc does have that TP advantage, as does Dian. So there's 2 TPs available for AXIZ right now to play with if they do want to make any kind of big commit.
And I was wondering, I wonder about this because obviously you do get to know that these players are playing and probably do play with their counterparts on their main roster team. Yu-Gi-Oh! Playing that Jace is very Ace-esque, the main top laner, the main mid laner from the side of V3 as, oh god, these top laners just want to keep fighting one another. So Ace plays a lot of Jace in the LJL, relatively speaking, as Gank's going to come here. Maybe I'll get something in a bit later.
Mutton walks right into the javelin, but is able to escape out for now. Unica is still on the hunt again. Mutton's really being neutralized extremely well by the Nidalee up to this point.
Yeah, look at the CS difference, and then immediately when this happens, they are like, oh yeah, you've got a huge lane crashing from this Fiora. What are we gonna do? Well, I'm just gonna come along, match you, and try and push you off. So this Jace point I was gonna make, you have to imagine, because Ace plays so much Jace in the LJL, and while he's not played it much, actually, at all, I don't think, in the 2021 summer season, it's always going to be on the cards. It's always something that he can pull out. We know he plays the Renekton, he plays a lot of these AD mid laners. Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably gets to sit against it and play against it and go, hey, this is probably really oppressive versus certain strategies. I'm going to learn to do this. This was a player that was doing this kind of thing when he was on Burning Core in the summer season. I'm not surprised he's doing it here in Scouting Grounds, though. Let's be real, LeBlanc and the mid laner for AXIZ has actually done a really good job at keeping up in the CS department.
Well, for sure. I mean, across the board, we're seeing pretty much even CS, including up in the top lane. We'd be maybe expecting Washide's ranged advantage to pay through. For any of you guys who are just tuning in now, we are in game 3 of day 2. Still to come, Crest Gaming against Sengoku. just after this one, Rascal Jester and DFM, and then ending out the day with AXIZ returning again after this game to go up against Crest Gaming. We could end out today with AXIZ having a 3-0 record if this game goes their way.
Yeah, or V3 will end their day with the 3-0, so we'll have to wait and see how it ends up. Currently, at the moment, though, mild advantage over to V3. They have been putting Mutton to the absolute sword with this, and no way Unico, if he does a blind. Oh, I was about to get tilted for them.
Wait a second, Unica doesn't... Okay, so Unica does have the level advantage, but I wondered if maybe that was a chance Mutton was hoping for there, that the Javelin was avoided and is avoided again. But Mutton has got themselves the early pickaxe, so presumably they are looking for a fight.
They're looking for a fight, but I think they're also looking to just try and get a gank on one of the lanes and have a decent amount of damage when they actually do land their Q. It's gonna be very interesting to pay attention to the two pathing that these two junglers do go for and see where they go for it. But geez, Yu-Gi-Oh rather is just landing so much damage, and Unica is just gonna have to keep pathing around the map effectively. He's getting his own red buff, and now guess where? Both these junglers are rotating to top.
Oh my gosh, it is a stat check seeing this poke coming in. That's for Yu-Gi-Oh, that's with only 2 long swords and a Doran's blade in pocket. They're able to chunk out Licio down the bottom side. Marble is doing a good job of getting some tower damage down, that the bomber is able to clear the way. The Herald is almost down with no response in here for V3. Would be a big pickup for AXIZ, and they've got it.
Yeah. They didn't have priority in any of the lanes. Washide was very much just trying to farm as effective as they could just outside of turret range. Unica was doing his full clear. He hadn't actually done a clear for a little bit, so he was just like, I'm far more interested in just getting a clear done for my side. They didn't rotate around their support much because, hey, they just let him reset. So as it stands, there is currently a lot of just chilling gold with that Rift Herald, but it's far more impactful because we saw what happens with Rift Heralds in Academy. Sometimes they don't go the way you expect them to go. They don't hit the turret, so you don't get the turret plating. You don't even get the damage. So I'm going to hold judgment until we see it as Unico goes for this dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid play here. V3, they've got the lane pushed up. They've got the members down there. Though we do have Mutton, who, of course, legendarily will be able to try and contest these later objectives with a Lee Sin. Not going to go for it this time around. I just one point on Mutton, though. Mutton getting shut out early on, presumably with the Herald pickup, should be able to bring their contribution back up to level with Unica.
It definitely will assist them. It's going to impact. It's really going to come down to how impactful they are able to be on the 2 picks. We'll have to wait with bated breath more than anything else on that one. Because remember, the other thing that the side of AXIZ do also have in their back pocket is a Ziggs. They always have a Ziggs in their back pocket. So if a fight vaguely goes their way, they can always just rely on a Ziggs to do the poke, to do the burst. And Yu-Gi-Oh getting a fair bit of poke here onto them.
Yeah, so get some matching pairs up in the mid lane, but no decisive play going through. And of course, yeah, you mentioned the Ziggs. We can't go too long without mentioning again, Dian and Marble. These are the 2 players we're expecting to take center stage in this game. So far, they've been quietly building up their CS in the bottom lane, but once those first items come in, then presumably we're going to be seeing a much larger impact from both of them.
Oh, absolutely. About at the moment in time, they do need to get an item or 2. They are playing champions who don't have the greatest base stats and very much would like to scale. It's going to be interesting to also remember because AXIZ are relying... Oh,
nice. Dragon's Rage pushes Washide back into the tower, and it's 11 minutes in, and AXIZ pick up first blood. Mutton's redemption has arrived, and they'll be able to slam the Herald into the top tower if they want to as well.
Yeah, and that's a huge pickup. The fact is, V3 had a lot of the chances in this game already to try and find one of these first bloods. They haven't done it, and the fact is, Mutton played this just really cleanly. Just lands it, Q, E, over to with the ult, and then that's really all she wrote. Yes, the stun came through the cannon, but the damage just wasn't there because where's the completed item? It's not there at this moment in time. And this is actually going to translate into a first turret, which is a huge pickup and actually a huge amount of momentum actually thrown into Fiora, who was who was going to have a really tough time in this lane, now has actually got 20 CS advantage. Yes, waves are crashing, but I mean, hey, this is really good for the side of AXIZ more than anything, because guess what? A lot of the damage and that center stage is going to be AP damage. It's going to be magic damage. It's not going to be attack damage. Good thing that they got this going in the top side.
Absolutely. But down on the bottom side, Marble is getting some free time with the bottom tower. It's almost like they've got a Rift Herald of their own, because Marble is just free firing and taking nearly the entirety of the plates, while AXIZ, they've got their attention elsewhere.
Yeah, DN decided to go to this mid lane to be able to at least collect the lane that was going there. They kind of swapping with the top laner and mid laner. I do think potentially, though, that this was done a bit preemptively. They probably should wait around a bit more, but hey, it definitely shows where V3 are smart and playing, because even with a Ziggs, DN is still 10 CS?
Oh my gosh, watch today with no tower to hide under. Has to be aware of Toll with the Divine Sunderer now. They are hitting like a truck in the 1v1.
That's power spikes.
Unica, speaking of power spikes, has just got their Night Harvester, so we're starting to move into these first items coming through. The lethality on the Rift is rising.
Oh, and it's gonna become, this is where we're gonna start seeing really disgusting plays. I mean, this is where the TP plays are gonna start coming in. Both these teams are gonna be looking to do some form of plays that the other is not expecting. It's gonna be playing around the map, but Unica looks like he's gonna get double buff, and then they're gonna try and rotate it into something else.
Yeah, we've got Unica able to escape out, or will they? Toll is coming in from the side, spots out what's going on. Would like to grab that blue buff for themselves. Drops down the ult to do so. Will follow Unica across the wall. We have got Dicey coming in. Nice long range bomb as the TP comes in from V3. They may end up regretting it because the TP coming in from AXIZ as well. Nice bring back into the true shot barrage across the team fight. Nalicio able to pick up the kill. But Marble working around the outside is so far untouched. Double kill for Malicio. Marble able to escape out clean.
Wow, 4 for 1. The only one that perished was Dicey as the Alistair, and that's exactly what you want every single time. Can you imagine a better way of having a team fight? Yes, the problem is Marble is here. He's able to do the wave clear. Early game, Ziggs is not the tower taking machine. It does take him to get a little bit, but it comes into this replay, and first off, it's all on Unica, and the fact is that they pop the ultimate and then they immediately go over. Flash has to get used. It is unfortunate that Dicey accidentally stole that one, but it's the only one they do end up sadly taking. And watch what happens here. The replay comes in, so much damage is absorbed by a total in this, and then afterwards it's just the side of AXIZ collapsing. This is just really clean from them.
Yeah, I'm loving what we're seeing Toll doing in this game. They may be 0-0 and a 5, but that gives them 100% kill participation in this game, and that's a pretty impressive thing to be able to say at 15 minutes in. As V3 pick up the second Drake, that is the only good news for them right now.
Yeah, and in that fight, to their counterparts' credit as well, Washide got like a 3 or 4 man Kennen ult. Like, what more can you ask from the Kennen in that team fight? Not really much more. He got into the middle, he got all of them. Well, that was in range. Pretty reasonable. The issue is, this is where I start wondering. I'm like, okay, well, you're playing around the Kennen, he gets the big shock, he's getting the big ultimate, but you guys are a poke comp, so this doesn't really work brilliantly. It's why I actually selected and suggested something like the Gnar, who has built-in poke, but then that transforms into Mega Gnar and actually can be a frontline tank. It's just, we're starting to see it, the small head that is the issue between these two teams, and how they've decided to draft their rosters.
Yeah, for V3, we're still seeing those pokes being effective, but they're not fully sticking. As Dient will get ulted here, so the chain crowd control is good, and that's what we're looking for. The poke set up by the crowd control. Petal will be held under the tower, so this could be a return kill coming back in. I think it will be, yes. Dicey grabs another kill. This cow is hungry for blood.
Yeah, support for carry is never a great one. At least they do trade it, but yeah, sadly Dicey steals that one, but it's far better to make sure someone gets it as opposed for Leona getting away, which would probably be unreasonable. So yeah, little bit of a mistake there, but hey, thankfully it looks like AXIZ are going to be able to make at least get top turret, mid turret for this, and that's worth it.
Yeah, might even be able to charge us into the tier 2. Of course, we are in Zig's execute territory, and that's exactly what will happen. Diane locks that tower down.
Well, escort it. Escort this AXIZ.
I know, it's so painful when teams don't do this, but they don't want to risk getting killed. The charge is still good. That guaranteed minimum damage means you've got to completely kill the rear herald, or you'll still take most of the damage anyway.
Oh lordy, I almost had a panic attack there. So this was honestly really well played by the side of V3. Now DM would have seen Hattel pretty early on into that, and then afterwards it's just pretty easy to land the spear when you're CC chained by a Leona for an Italy. How does this go down? Oh, well, oh, that was the ignite. Oh, well, that's not even Dicey's fault. Double, unlucky.
Okay. So we saw a little bit of what V3 were trying to put together, that composition. You said, crowd control into unavoidable poke. Presumably this doesn't work for more than, one or two targets, though. If you
doesn't really work for more than 1 or 2 seconds, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, if sure, you can delete DN as we saw there, but I presume that's not going to work in the context of a team fight.
No, and if you try and do this onto a Fiora when she decides to go invulnerable and counter all your moves, it's even worse. This is going to be hard, and Deant is the easiest and hardest target to try and get on, because, yeah, it's a Ziggs, but Ziggs can also just bomb away. Also, Ziggs just doesn't have to play team fights at the range that anyone, even with a poke comp, anyone really wants to play a reasonable team fight. So,
there's the play again. So Mutton this time around gets hit by short range crowd control. Reaction in here, nice bomb, but doesn't do a ton of damage. So you can see Leona is able to deal with
but
this.
Look at the side lanes.
Yeah, double split push coming from AXIZ, but V3 are still not being able to make a play 5 versus 3, and instead they're breaking off to try and cover those side lanes.
Yeah, but we've still got another minute to Infernal Drake, so the side of AXIZ, they're like, well, you guys didn't kill our jungler. Our 2 side laners can keep pushing, and looks like even actually they want to get some revenge credit where credit is due over to the side of AXIZ, because Dicey's pretty deep here in the jungle.
Yeah, they're going to get spotted out by Hettel there, and maybe come to regret it, though. We have got Lee Sin just off the side, so Dicey won't be able to charge out of trouble. No, don't stop to take the ward! Baited and outsmarted a little bit there as Hugo picks up the first tower for V3 on the bottom side. The gold lead still lies very much with AXIZ.
Yeah, it's going to be important now that the side of AXIZ do get out on the map as fast as they can. They didn't reset at 1 minute, so I'm a little worried when they did have that collapse on Mutton. Mutton immediately reset. This is when the whole of AXIZ should have reset, gone back to base. Some of them did, some of them didn't, and now they need to get back on the map, because guess what? This Infernal Rift is, well, this Infernal Drake's going to be up in 10 seconds, and V3 are set up, and AXIZ just kind of opened up and let them kind of take control of the map, and this is surprising.
Yeah, we've got, the Fiora up in the top side toll with the TP available, but there doesn't seem to be any attempt made to stop this third Drake from being taken. For AXIZ, the full focus is on these towers, and it does make sense, I guess, when you've got the Ziggs for the execute. We've got so much territory won by AXIZ here in these opening 20 minutes, and they almost get the tier 2 as well. Not quite enough minions there, and no Alistair this time round to help out.
If you're not applying pressure to them to actually take these dragons, they're just going to comfortably let 1 or 2 people take it. This keeps happening.
Gio getting a little poked out there, but so far V3, they've defended the mid tier 2, they've defended the top tier 2 as well, so the Drake ends up ultimately being traded for just a little bit of tower damage.
I'm still rather confused on where AXIZ are hoping this game's going to go. I know you guys keep giving the dragons over, but you guys don't have a huge gold lead as it is. You're kind of playing around, and Hattel is very much more than anything controlling the pace of this game, as opposed to really where Dicey and Mutton are. Like, this is just the fact that clearly AXIZ think they scale better. And we're just going to have to wait and see if that is actually the case. Inherently, you would normally side with the poke comp for scaling reasons, because, well, if they just keep getting to play the game for longer and longer, their poke's going to keep doing more and more, and then eventually Dian is going to have to play so far back, it's basically like a Q and a Ziggs ultimate, and that's all he has. He has a Mega Phono Bomb, and that's all he can do. When is Mutton going to be able to do any damage? When is Total 2 is going to be able to do any damage? Like, we're in this really weird spot of the game where I'm not sure if AXIZ are going to execute the comp correctly, or if they're just waiting for a team fight, even though they want to play the double split push. You see my concern, Counterfeit.
Oh, for sure. No, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. The V3 poke, they're building damage items. It's not like AXIZ's carries are building defensive items to stop themselves from getting poked. They're building offensive items as well, but they may not even be able to apply that damage if they get poked out before the fight.
Well, and they're also not even trying to play towards a fight, because when they know there's going to be an objective, like Dragon, they're just repelled against it. And I understand the fact that, okay, let V3 get as many as they can and then fight them when we feel like we have the best opportunity. The problem is, I think you had the best opportunity when you guys were winning the game.
Yes. Things have gotten stalled out a lot since then. It's 3k in the advantage at 22 minutes. But yeah, we've had 2 kills on Mutton, 2 kills on Milicio for a while. Yeah. And even Dicey with the 2 kills as well. That has remained static for the last 5 minutes or so. V3 have defended extremely well.
Well, if anything, I would say V3 actually got some early aggression, and we're going to have to wait and see. Important to note, though, when they do want to play around this team fight, and I imagine it's probably not coming again, or probably not going to be a team fight for another few more minutes, because when this dragon does come up, Mutton has got an elixir. So that's going to be a huge one. It's the tenacity one as well.
Wow, that really speaks to AXIZ really wanting to make a play happen in a short period of time, because that is gone once that runs out. So if they don't get 500 golds worth of value out of the play while that's active, they've just thrown money away.
But it kind of makes sense if you consider where the items are at the moment, as God, these 2 top laners just still want to keep fighting as if it's level 5, that they're level 13 and 14. It's just, okay, smack, smack, smackaroo. Who wins? It will be me or you? I feel like that's a rhyme.
I feel like there's a rap building up through the course of this game, which is just crying to come out, but hopefully by the end of the game it will fully realize itself. As we've got
crying's not playing.
Oh no. Oh no. At least we've got a split push across 2 different lanes. I guess I deserve that one after the Mr. comment in the previous game. We're just trying to one up each other at this point, but hey,
we are.
The top lane brawl, the teenagers refuse to clean their rooms, but they will clean up that bottom lane tower.
Can we please get something happen? This has probably been the least bloody game of the LJL Academy so far, and I said very early on, I didn't care about the quality of the games, I just wanted blood at worst case scenario, and we're getting Ziggs Mega Inferno bombs to clear ways. That's man, Infernal Soul's going to be on the table.
Toll's your player. If you want blood, Toll is here to provide it as the TV comes in, and Toll's like, oh, I'm out of here. The rest of V3 are collapsing. Here's your blood. It's not the duel we hoped for. Oh, nice evade there. As Unica misses, forcibly burn the flash and the true shot barrage. That's what V3 can do from a distance. Overkill.
For sure, and with that overkill and with the kill in the top lane, and now they just have to seed over this Infernal Drake, and I don't know why the fact that V3 got this for free. There wasn't a reason that they should have gotten this so for free, because AXIZ were ahead for a long part of this game. They're even still ahead if you look at the gold lead. The fact is now, a poke comp with an Infernal Soul is maybe one of the most deadly combinations in the game. Outside of maybe if that poke comp can get a very early Elder Soul. Oh wait, we're 25 minutes into this game and V3 have basically been collecting dragons as they spawn. I think V3 are going to wait another 5 minutes for Counterfeit, and that's where the next fight's going to actually happen. And they will gladly trade Baron for Elder because they can just win with it.
I'm completely with you on this. It feels like AXIZ have stalled out dramatically since it got to around the 20-minute mark. They haven't managed to get anything done, and the V3 were able to take the Infernal Soul with, I believe, 2 members, while AXIZ were nearby in the mid lane doing nothing about it at all. I mean,
well, they were looking at the poke. They were looking at the poke in mid lane. They were just like, we'll try and do something. Nah. No.
AXIZ, I commend them for their focus on towers, but maybe that focus has gone a little bit too far when it comes to ignoring every other objective.
But they haven't taken a tower since they put down the Rift Herald in mid lane counterfeit, and then ended up just taking it with a Ziggs bomb, Ziggs satchel, and then getting that one hit with Shirley on that second tier 2. Nothing's happened. No damage has happened outside of T-Total doing some split lane pushing, and we've seen how effective that's been. V3 are very good at collapsing on them.
Yeah, Dicey will take the one to the face. They are the victim of all the crowd control, but there at least is a chance for AXIZ to try and respond. The bomb is a little short of the play. So V3, they make their pick. Dicey's now off the field. And you mentioned that Infernal Soul, it's got to really mess up the calculations for how much damage AXIZ can absorb.
Oh, God, this is. And the thing is, this is only going to get worse for AXIZ. For V3, it gets better. Because of the Infernal Soul. The fact is that Baron is up, and the fact that V3 know if they get more than 2 picks, they need 2 picks. If they got Dicey and somebody else, they were immediately going to go run over to that Baron. The thing is, if Mutton's still alive, there's always that concern that potentially there's a steal. V3 haven't been shown to be a team that like to 50-50 very often. They like to win definitively. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. As it stands, Elder hasn't spawned yet, so I imagine V3 are just going to keep poking and just playing around the map.
I mean, we look back to 23 minutes and the goal lead was 3k. We're now at 28 minutes. The goal lead is now a lot less. I was going to say 2k, but it's even less than that now as V3 are hoovering up the farm. If anything, with the Infernal Soul, V3 are presumably, in terms of raw punching power, actually ahead of AXIZ and continuing to trend in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got all of the dragons. The fact that AXIZ haven't got a single dragon makes things even worse for them in that department. Though they're going to try and find a pick on Yu-Gi-Oh!
All right, Mutton is here.
Oh my.
Look at that damage. The TPs coming in, synchronized TPs here as Mutton decides to commit in for the play. We have got at least a Fiora coming back, going to drop it onto Washiday, but Unica and the rest of V3, they're so quick to react. The bomb from a fire doesn't do enough damage, and it's going to be V3 winning out convincingly because Marvel is here to finish off the job. It's only by the smallest of margins, but V3 survive with everybody. They have officially arrived to take over the game and potentially get this Baron as well.
Okay, well, Dicey and Dian want to try and do something, but it's going to be close to impossible. V3 Esports, you have just played so well. Huge credit to Yu-Gi-Oh, but the whole side of V3 collapsed so well on that last fight, and TP's coming in.
Nice hit in from the bombs of the Ziggs, but Dian's in trouble now. They can't get themselves out, and it's a kill for a Baron. No, sorry, 2 kills for a Baron. A now uncontested Baron, V3. It gets to 30 minutes, and they are way ahead of this game.
It's unfortunate that Washiday did sadly die at the very end there. It's worthwhile, honestly, for the side of V3 because it's far better to get another 2 more kills, especially to kill Diant as well, to put them further behind. It's unfortunate, but all of this comes down to the amount of sheer damage that Yu-Gi-Oh did at the very beginning of this play. Look at that. It's just so much. And then after that, well, it's back to being a 1v1, and Yu-Gi-Oh's okay with that. Washiday very much saves a huge amount of this play, especially because look at how much kiting they do. Look at how much wasted time is just hanging around here because they just pulled them off. Then afterwards, V3 Esports just get to play Collapse. I almost thought Mutton might turn this around for a split second, but thankfully, Marble came in and did exactly what he does. Hasn't died. 3rd game in a row. Can he actually close it now is the question.
Oh my gosh, that would be an incredible thing to be able to say that you managed to get through 3 games and bring V3 to the top of the table without taking a single death all the way. Marvel's damage and the rest of the team. We can see Dicey can't do anything. The ult comes out way too late to make a difference. As told, you can see their frustration coming from the side, just cleaning up a wall, but they could not do anything to stop V3's path of rage. It's tower number 4 knocking the door. It's V3. Mutton gets annihilated by the poke. It's not even close. V3, they've got this inhibitor, and I think they're unstoppable.
Gonna try and find something, but it's gonna be a big risk for them now. The question is, V3, do you want to end the game now, or do you want to go get back? Oh, you want Elder. All right, guys. You know you could end the game here. You're just wasting my time here, but you're deciding. Let's be real here. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. They should just end the game. They're not doing it because they want Elder and they also want to just push their advantage as much as possible. I get it. I'm all right with it.
I mean, I guess I can understand when the game's trending so heavily in your favor, the temptation's got to be like, well, as long as that trend continues, our chances of winning are better and better as it goes along. As that single shock blast chunking out a good quarter of AXIZ's health by itself.
Yeah, that's not okay by any stretch of the imagination. And the fact is now that V3 Esports are just resetting and getting back on the map, and they've healed up, they've brought more items, they've got new stopwatches, they're ready to go.
Nalicio getting chunked out before the fight even really begins. That sounds familiar from before. So Infernal Soul already available for V3. Ella Dragon will make the team fights even more disastrous as AXIZ step forward. Nice double knockout from Dicey. The combo with the bomb is not effective. We've got someone on the side trying to go after Yu-Gi-Oh, but look at those health bars. AXIZ, they cannot stand in a straight fight against V3, no matter what the combinations are. Dion and Mutton trying to buy time because V3, they've got an open path to the base. Right now, Yu-Gi-Oh has got super minions on the Nexus towers. Mutton is being driven away. It doesn't matter what's going on in the top lane because in the base, V3 are going to move to be 3-0 and take top spots here in the Academy League at the expense of AXIZ. What a game!
Very well played by V3. They identified exactly how they had to play this game and were more than happy to do it. 33 minutes and Marble. Sir, you've not died once again. Oh, I think we've got a contender for the crown at this moment in time. It might be very early, Counterfeit, but I'm very excited to see more from V3.
Oh, absolutely. And, it's got to feel amazing when you're in Marble's position there, where you've had an entire team built up around, say, like, we're going to make you look incredible in this Academy League. People are going to look at your stats and say, wait, what the hell? Is there some data point that's broken here? Because these numbers shouldn't be allowed. But honestly, in that game, as well as Marble did, it really felt like it was the entirety of the V3 team, coming together and creating a completely unlivable environment.
Not only doing that, but they were also playing around multiple members. This was a game that I would argue, while Marble didn't die, and he outputted a very large chunk of the damage, he wasn't the definitive carry in this one. This one was far more from Yu-Gi-Oh in that department as well. They played brilliantly around their support as well. It was just really, really strong. And it's so nice to see a team like that. They were the favorites pegged coming in. The fact is that they're looking this good this early on. Slightly terrifying, if you ask me, Counterfeit.
Well, for sure. And I mean, looking back to the game itself, for AXIZ, you noticed in particular, they did start to build momentum. They had those 2 kills everywhere. And then they sat back in the game for whatever reason, and they never got any more kills than that for the rest of the game, which is just crazy.
Well, it comes down to that they didn't team fight. They weren't allowed to team fight when they really wanted to, Counterfeit. They had to play from behind for a lot of that. Well, they played from ahead for a lot of that game. And then it seemed like they thought they were way further behind. It's the kind of game where a coach can come in, listen to the voice comms and go, guys, whoever's making this call, it wasn't like that. Let's talk about the game state. Let's talk about things. And you identify this. And this is something that the AXIZ players will probably go back and go, oh my God, we were like 3K ahead. We thought we were behind. And then they're just going to identify this. And when you start seeing things like this, you start seeing it more often and you can just tell and feel, you get a better feel. You know what I mean?
I think if anything, the only sort of downside to this game for V3 is that Pokemon was so oppressive towards the late game, it's going to have drawn the attention of every freaking team in the league.
But they have so much to play already.
I mean, but you can't, if you don't have a way to close out that game early on, it doesn't seem like any team can allow for V3 to pull off that same kind of setup again. because yeah, we saw there were no answers, even where you'd expect the answers to be like the LeBlanc. They were getting chewed out way before the fights even started. So I think it's a bold team that ever lets V3 play that style again.
I don't think anyone will.
All right, guys. So we are only halfway done with today. We're going to be seeing the return of Sengoku up against Crest Gaming Act Academy in our next game, and we will be switching to a new pair of casters.
Tag out.
Yes, we're going to tag out to our current producer, and will still be our producer as well. Fantastic. Middlecott and Midnight will be taking you through the last 3 games of day number 2. The first 3 have been fantastic. The next 3 are promising to be brilliant as well. So we'll see you guys on the other side of the break with Middlecott and